What is happening on our southern border is inexcusable, and it's putting lives at risk. The problem stems, of course, from an administration that would rather import poverty, stoke the flames of division, and communicate through lies than it would keep people safe. Right now, under a Texas bridge in Del Rio, Texas, sits 15,000 Haitian migrants, apparently with more on the way. To Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, this is not horrific, he says. A fake news story of bogus accounts of Border Patrol on horses using whips against illegal border crossers. This, to Mayorkas, even though the whole story's phony, is horrific.
Secretary, what was your initial reaction when you saw these things?
I was horrified by what I saw. I'm going to let the investigation run its course, but the pictures that I observed troubled me profoundly. That is not acceptable. We will not tolerate mistreatment, and we will address it with full force.
What an idiot. I wish he was this angry, you just saw there, over the fact that our country's being invaded. But no, here's the problem with his faux outrage. These aren't whips, they're reins. And in every video I reviewed and Border Patrol administrators reviewed as well, there's no evidence of agents using those reins to steer a horse against migrants. In fact, Border Patrol issued a statement that agents spin the reins to keep migrants away from the horses for their own safety. But instead, typical to the left's war on cops mentality, even though Border Patrol doesn't even carry whips, you get a web of lies designed to get you to hate the men and women keeping all of us safe.
He also felt they were horrific and horrible. I don't know anyone who could watch that video and not have that emotion. That's not who we are. That's not who the Biden-Harris administration is.
What I saw depicted about those individuals on horseback treating human beings the way they were is horrible. And I fully support what is happening right now, which is a thorough investigation.
What we have seen was cruel, inhumane, and a violation of domestic laws and international laws.
These are amateurs who know nothing what they talk about. Nothing. They're naive amateurs. And if they do know what they're talking about, then of course they're lying to you, and that makes them devious. So while the media focuses on that anti-cop, anti-Border Patrol propaganda, it's ignoring what's really happening. Homeland Security is releasing thousands of these migrants from Haiti, Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and so many other countries. They're releasing them into this country. Anyone now with a child gets an absolute free pass into the United States. Catch and release is still the norm. That means grab a kid, any kid, and come on in. That's the message they're sending. It's dangerous messaging that will now put thousands of children in harm's way. As for the Haitians, don't believe the rhetoric that these immigrants recently escaped some war-torn country. You don't get to the United States that fast. They come from an island, Haiti. These migrants, according to every Border Patrol agent I've spoken with, believes they've been living in other countries for months, if not years, and only now realized Team Biden is offering them unfettered access into the greatest nation in the world. Yet Secretary Mayorkas ignores the facts and refuses to call this mess what it is, a crisis.
What is the reticence to call something that is so clearly a crisis a crisis?
I call it a heartbreaking situation, a tremendous challenge.
Would you publicly admit right now that you've been confronted that would happen?
You know, I'm going to stop you right there. Let me just say very clearly, we are focused on meeting the challenge. We have reiterated that our borders are not open and people should not make the dangerous journey.
Do you honestly believe that our borders are closed?
Senator, I do.
They do? Well, if that was the case, Border Patrol wouldn't need horses to stop them from coming across a river. These aren't the only people, though, flooding into our country right now, not the ones from Haiti. Team Biden is bringing in Afghan refugees in record numbers as well. Brace yourself for this. Today, Secretary Mayorkas also admitted that only 3% of the Afghan evacuees are special immigrant visa holders, meaning an Afghani who helped Americans during the war. 3%. On top of that, of the evacuees rescued from Afghanistan, only 7% were U.S. citizens, only 6% were lawful permanent residents. That's only 13% of the evacuees that came into our country. Who are the rest? Unvetted Afghans, possibly terrorists, because the Biden administration is allowing anyone in. And guess what else we're finding out about this group of people? Like the migrants at our southern border, they are not being asked for proof of vaccinations, and they are not being forced to get the China virus vaccine. Here is what they are doing: bringing in all kinds of other diseases. According to the CDC, 16 of these refugees have confirmed cases of the measles. Others have tuberculosis and malaria. Compare this with what's happening on the border. This is nothing short of an invasion, and I believe an invasion by design. So for every 2 Americans that are born in this country, every 2, we get 1 illegal that just waltzes in if we keep up this pace. What we're witnessing is the culmination of the radical left's plot to dilute America and overrun it with potential Democrat, socialist voters.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.